Tiger 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
Last time we went racing then, we saw another victory being added to that impressive tally. Chris Cumming and Fraser Parish. They took the win at Wadden, edging them a little closer to that all-important championship victory. In fact, Cumming and Parish would see their closest fight on the day coming from a non-championship Douglas Devon Bat, pushing the winners right to the finish of the event with only a handful of seconds between them by the finish post. And it would be a final step on the podium for Cummings' closest championship rival on the day, Bruce Mallet. A good, strong run, putting him in sight of victory once again. Next up, the championship takes us to Wales, to Walters Arena to be exact, and the conditions were a complete contrast. The dusty course from last time out replaced with a very wet and muddy one here in South Wales. And as the fight for the championship comes down to the wire, it was going to be a great fight for victory out there on the course here at the penultimate round. It really counts today. On to the morning runs then, and it would be the early lead for Chris Cumming and Fraser Parish. They'd lose a little time on the second run of the day when the covers on the goggles didn't exactly work properly, meaning that Chris couldn't clear his view very well. But apart from that, things were going to plan. They were picking up exactly where they'd left off. They didn't need to do anything silly or take any big risks this weekend. Easier said than done, but a good finish would be all they needed for the championship. This venue, though, was hard on the car, so they'd have to manage that pace at the front well. Second place at this stage will be Bruce Mallet and Adrian Beer. They too having some problems. A broken rear shaft on the first run of the day, seeing them drop around a minute to Cumming on that run. They, of course, get that sorted, but would face some brake issues on the following runs of the day, having to develop a method of pumping the brakes constantly throughout the event. And rounding out the podium positions at this stage would be Stuart Williams. Third in the class as well at this stage in the event, but almost a minute to find if he wanted to catch Mallet up ahead. There'd be some early attrition though. We lose Mike Bakewell from the leaderboard. The times were looking good on the opening run, but the rear prop shaft would let go on the second run, putting a hole in the sump. And with parts unavailable to get it fixed, it would, sadly for him, be game over. Leading the way in Class 9 at this stage will be Gareth Edwards. A strong start, managing to get himself up near the podium positions as well in fourth overall. An overshoot on the first run of the day wouldn't exactly be the best of starts, would it, for Harry Nicol and Emily Sidley? But aside from that, things were going well for the pair. They start off the event with a fantastic 5th place overall, leading the way in Class 6. And they were, of course, more than happy with their pace, and with it, that position on the leaderboard. Just behind them in the class, though, and ready to go fighting, were Mick and George Chick. The times were quite close as well, just 15 seconds separating the pair at this stage in the event. A bit of an error in the morning for Cy Badge and Matt Hancock would see them getting a little lost on the first lap. Worse was to come later in the event though. They lose the brakes altogether on the 4th run of the day, finishing the morning with a rather spongy brake pedal that would need looking at before they head back out onto the course. They lead the way in Class 7 though, lying in 7th place overall for now. In Class 4, it will be the lead for Di Paul Hansen-Phillips. A good start to the event, lying inside our top 10 overall as well in 8th. Gary Bully, meanwhile, will be out this weekend with Lisa Soley from the Rally Women Norway team. Things are going well for the pair. They end the morning with 9th place overall, 2nd in Class 7. And rounding out the top 10 at the end of the morning's runs will be Bruce Tigwell. The times in the final positions of the top 10 were close, only 6 seconds separating 3 positions. And things were looking tasty just outside the top 10 as well. In 11th overall, it was Ashley Bartlett, taking 2nd in Class 4 as well at this stage. Daryl Hardy and Marianne Cannon will be having a good run this weekend, lying third in Class 6 in a chasing position, but enjoying the course most importantly. This was exactly the kind of event that they loved getting their teeth stuck into. And this would be the first event out in 4 years for Jordan Shirley and Mike Tilney. And the pair were out in a new car as well to boot. They didn't get things finished until the night before the event, so this was their shakedown. They did get a puncture on the first run of the day, but aside from that small problem, they were more than happy with how things were going, pleased with the times as they end the morning with 13th place overall, 4th in Class 6, just 2 seconds back from Hardy up ahead, and hardly rusty after all that time away. It might not have been Will and James Thompson's first event for a long time, but they were here at Waters Arena for their first time at this course. This time with the help of Seren Lillystone in the navigator's seat as well. They were enjoying the course, but a puncture on the first run of the morning would drop them some time. Chris and David Bowler had made a few changes to the car since last time out, this time including some better cooling. Not that it was needed as much in these rather wet and cold conditions over in Wales. Things were going well for the pair though. They lie third in Class 7, 15th place overall. And for Niall Banyard, it will be third in Class 4. This class starting to spread out throughout our overall entry. And the times didn't look like they would be changing unless anything was to happen to any of the crews up ahead. Obviously don't rule it out, but for now, it will be 16th place overall. Gearbox problems you might remember last time out for Victoria Vaughan and Owen Davies meant that this would be like the first time out in a bit of a while. Aside from a small issue with the wipers on the opening run of the day, things had been going well. The pair lying in 19th place overall, 5th in Class 7. In Class 8, there'd be an early lead for Richard Hayward. A good start in that class to take a bit of a comfortable advantage with it as well. Richard Mayer Barron had only just finished a front-end rebuild on the car before this round. A last-minute rush to get the car ready for the event then would mean there were problems from the off as the engine timing kept moving after each of the runs and needing resetting. Worse was to come though when oil leaked onto the exhaust, causing the car to burst into flames, burning parts of the wiring loom in the process. It was game over, but thankfully the fire was put out, preventing what could have been a much worse disaster. The morning hadn't exactly started how Mark Holmes would have wanted either. A maximum time on the opening run of the event would ruin any chance of a strong result. That wasn't going to stop him from pushing for the rest of the morning though, setting some of the fastest times of the day that we'd seen in fact. Sadly for him, it would be 26th overall due to that earlier maximum time on run 1. This would also be a Waters Arena debut for Margaret Bakewell, and indeed the first time in these extremely wet conditions. She'd be having a bit of a problem with the windscreen steaming up on the opening run due to all of the water coming in the car. Thankfully though, that would be resolved before run 2 with a tip from Bruce Tigwell to use washing up liquid on the inside of the windscreen. James and Philippa Tennant will be sharing the driving once again, with James taking the wheel for the morning. Sadly for them, a maximum early on will put them down the order as well when they lose the fuel cap. Once they got that issue sorted though, the times were looking good, but for now it would be 4th in Class 5, 28th overall for Team Tennant with an awful lot to do. Luke Dodds would have girlfriend Lucy Jones in the navigator's seat for the first time this weekend. A problem with water getting into the distributor cap would see them getting a maximum time though on the opening run. But after they got that sorted, things would go much better. They end the morning 2nd place in Class 1, and would you believe it, still talking. Just behind them in the class and overall leaderboards will be Andy Kent and James Withers. The times a little bit too big to change with run times alone, so they just keep going as they were and see what the rest of the day would bring. So we've reached the end of the morning's runs here at Waters Arena. Here's a reminder of how those overall leaderboards are shaping up as they stand after run 4. We're on to the afternoon runs then here at Waters Arena, and we'd lose Jordan Shirley and Mike Tilney. A wire shorting out, taking them a long time to find the problem, and that means the pair don't get enough time to finish all of their runs. Frustrating. Not a way to end the day. On to our finishers though, it will be 21st overall for Andy Kent and James Withers, rounding out the finishers as well as taking 2nd in Class 1. For Richard Hayward, it will be the Class 8 win, the only finisher in that class, in 20th place on the leaderboard as well. There's more frustration though for Philippa and James Tennant. More issues to add to their morning problems. They break a wishbone, taking another maximum time. Thankfully for them, they do get it fixed and they're able to finish their runs, taking the Class 5 victory as well due to the podium overall, not taking a class win, of course. For Kieran Jones, it will be second place in Class 4 to end the event, gaining a lot of places in the class with retirements and changes up ahead in the leaderboard. But that's okay, consistency sometimes is the way to go in this sport. Harry Nicol and Emily Sibley's run of good times would meanwhile come to an end when a track rod end snaps and puts them out into the trees. Sadly, they wouldn't be recovered for a while and would miss their last run. Another bit of frustration, costing them another maximum time and meaning that they end the event 17th place overall. A similar story to come as well for Gareth Edwards, missing the last two runs of the day and dropping down to 16th place overall instead of chasing that podium, which of course is where he'd want, where we'd really expect him to be. It will be a great end to the event though for Luke Dodds and Lucy Jones. They take the Class 1 victory after the loss of Richard Mayer-Barron. Without that earlier maximum, they would surely have been further up the overall leaderboard as well. Lucy doing a great job in that navigator's seat for the first time out in the car as well. For Leighton Dodds and Martin Hayward, it will be third place in Class 6. A little way off the other positions in the class, but a good, strong overall result this weekend. It was a great finish for Victoria Vaughan and Owen Davies as well, and of course, the finish being the key part of that. The car not missing a beat all day, meaning that they managed to set some great times, ending the event 6th in class, 13th overall. Frustratingly for them, missing out on any other places due to the course closing before their final run, costing them a maximum to end the day with. The only maximum in Margaret Bakewell's plan this afternoon was attack. A good result, getting all of the runs in, finishing a fantastic 12th place overall out of 21 finishes as well. That result, plus the retirement for Mike, her husband, means that she would actually beat him in the championship in her first season. A maximum time earlier in the event had put Tyler Skelly and Connor Manick down the order, playing catch-up. They managed to get themselves clawed up as far as 11th place overall, 4th in class 7 to finish the event, setting fastest time in class in the process. We're on to our top 10 then, and rounding out those positions would be this man, Morgan Box. Carl Box alongside 3rd in class 7 as well to end the day. No problems to report for Chris and David Bowler. They put in some good measured driving to end the event 3rd in class 7 as well as 9th place on the leaderboard. The course suited the car well, gave them a little more seat time to get used to the new changes to the car and to their return to competing after a while out of the seat. Now, if you look carefully in the car of Will and James Thompson, you might just see some bright yellow gloves. The race gloves getting too wet as the day went on and having to raid the caravan for the marigolds. They worked though, the pair ending the event 2nd in class 6, as well as a fantastic 8th place overall. Who needs lucky underpants? No problems to report for Daryl Hardy and Marianne Cannon. They enjoyed the extra competition in the class this weekend and were glad to take victory. They end the event 7th overall as well. And it will be a class victory as well for Di Paul Hansen Phillips. He ends the event in the lead of class 4 as well as 6th place overall. Bruce Tigwell, meanwhile, would gain some time in the afternoon runs to end the event with 5th place, gaining a few places on the leaderboard to take that position as well as the win in Class 9. And it would be a great end to the event for Gary Bully and Lisa Soley, taking the Class 7 victory and finishing just outside the podium positions overall as well with 4th. There's more attrition and some last-minute drama as well for Bruce Mallet and Adrian Beer. The turbo splitting in 2 on the 5th run of the event. Beer having to call it a day with that dramatic mechanical failure. And indeed, that would also be end of play for the season as they focus on getting the car ready again for action. On to those all-important then podium positions, and it will be 3rd for Cy Badge and Matt Hancock. No more problems to report for the pair. They put in some good times moving up the order. Fastest of the B-Maxwell cars and recording their own personal highest place finish in the AWDC as well in the process. Stuart Williams, meanwhile, would concentrate on keeping everything neat and tidy to end the event with 2nd. He'd be a little way off the lead, but held a pretty comfortable advantage in that 2nd place and would end up going unchallenged. A strong end to the event. But that does mean it's a very crucial victory for Chris Cumming and Fraser Parish. They only planned on doing enough for the championship, so victory in the event overall was a welcome bonus as well. The pair had so far managed a 2nd place at the opening round and then 5 victories in a row. The perfect way to round out a championship campaign with a win for the season as well. So with our champions for the 2021 season crowned, here's a reminder of those final results at the end of this round of the Britpart All-Wheel Drive Championship.
Yeah, well placed. We were going to try and get the championship today and try and take it steady and make sure we get the finish. But we had one hell of a first lap. I don't know where we found the time on the first lap because we struggled to find it all day since then. It's been a lot wetter since. Been comfortable for the rest of the day then.
I can see the open windscreen has taken its toll on you guys today. The mud and horrible conditions here at Walters haven't been the best for you guys, but you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been hard going today. Just the weather. We had a couple of laps where neither of us could really see where we were going. We had an overshoot on a corner, and but other than that, it's gone okay. It's been good.
Great stuff.
Soaked through to our pants.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Is there anyone you want to thank while we're here?
Yes, Hat Service Centre, our main sponsors, Pioneer 4x4, and everybody else who helps us out throughout the year. Thank you to Fraser for following us around the country. Alright, no bother. Keep me in the right direction.
Oh yeah, it's been awesome. Great fun.
Usual commitment as always with this little beast.
Yeah, you just got to send it flat out, and she bounces along nice.
Yeah, plenty of times where your arms have been crossed over whilst in mid-air.
Yeah, and going in a straight line, they seem to be crossed, but there we go.
But you've had a good time.
Yeah, it's been great, thank you.
Conditions not phased you today with it being horrible and wet and...
Nah, not too bad. It was disgusting through the first couple of puddles, but then once you're soaked, you just got to send it. And then it was nice with the rain because it kept clearing our goggles, and then when it started to dry up, it actually meant it dried on a bit, but apart from that, it was good, yeah.
The championship overall might be Sona, but there's still drama to come. Next up, the championship returns here to Walters Arena, taking up the reserve round after missing an event earlier in the season. And with the championship decided, it would be pressure off for many, and that also means usually gloves are off as well. Some of those class championship battles still to be decided, of course. We will, of course, be there to bring you all of the action from that final round back here at Walters Arena in Wales in a few weeks' time. Meanwhile, thank you for watching.
care, 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.